Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we are starting off with a brand new series, and that is A Lethal Bite featuring TsukiYamaKageHina, and this is Yamaguchi centered. Don't worry, with all of my first parts there typically is no content warnings, so this also applies. There is no content warnings for this first part, but the second part, that's a different story. So let's go ahead and I'll do it. Hello my lovely viewers, looking for some affordable and good quality anime merch? Want to support your favorite Haikyuu team or join UA? What about joining the Straw Hat Pirates for an adventure or two? Want to join the Black Wolves or the Fairy Tail Guild? Well, this site has that and so much more. Use my discount code and receive 10% off your entire order. Link and code is in the description. Thank you so much for watching. The palms of his hands were damp with nerves. Yamaguchi wiped his hands over his pants and shook them, trying to shake himself of the nerves. He inhaled deeply through his nose and out through his mouth to compose himself before entering the office. Being called into the office meant only two things. One, something big was happening, and two, he would get laid off. More times than not, employees would walk out with a pink slip in hand. He silently begged that this wasn't his final day at work, and he wouldn't lose his job. Once inside, he was greeted with a fellow coworker and their boss. Yamaguchi quickly scanned the desk for any signs of pink when their boss left no time to look. Ah, Yamaguchi, glad you can make it. I was almost starting to think you were going to be late. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Despite his carefree behavior, he laughed nervously and glued his hands to his sides to prevent him from picking at his nails. What is this about, sir? The older man sat back in his chair and threw down two folders on the desk for each of them to look at. This here shows our sales since Yamaguchi started working with us. The boy mentally cursed and gulped, grabbing the folder much more eagerly than he intended and skimmed through the contents in fear. Did he do bad? Did he cause the company to plummet in sales? Was his prototype not sufficient? Wait, they're high. Really high even. Exactly, which is why I've decided to give you a new project. It won't be easy, but this will be the highlight of your career. Yamaguchi flipped the page, and his eyes widened. This is mine. This is the project I've been working on. The former captain glanced at his coworker, suddenly feeling guilty for taking on her project. Please settle down. I know this might come as a shock. Typically, we would discuss this in a meeting, but me and many others think this is for the best. Given the data we've already received and the potential for this project, we believe it's best to pursue with Yamaguchi taking lead. To show his gratitude, Yamaguchi bowed. Thank you, sir. I will do my best. With this being such a big project, I expect you to put in the work. No worries though, you'll be given overtime for your work, and the raise once the work has been completed. But he just got here. Aki fumed. Her face was red in anger. Yamaguchi looked up just briefly before looking away. And he has given us better data than you have in the past year you've been here. That seemed to shut her up, and she stormed out of the office in a frenzy. Ignore her, she will manage just fine. Now get to work, Yamaguchi, and report to me by the end of the day. Yes, sir. Is he still asleep? Hinata flipped over from behind the couch and planted next to Yamaguchi, who was still sleeping on Tsukishima's lap. Yeah. The blonde's voice was laced with the concern, tracing the circles underneath the smallest eyes with his finger. It had been a week since Yamaguchi came home later than usual, yet was beaming with joy upon being assigned a big project that would result in a bonus. But that one day of coming home late turned into every day. Even on Yamaguchi's off days, he would still leave and go to the office to take care of some loose threads he convinced himself of the night prior. While Tsukishima was proud of him, he grew concerned as the days passed. Yamaguchi had just gotten home and collapsed onto the couch. Dinner's almost done. Should we wake him? Kageyama peeked into the living room from the kitchen, holding up a spatula. Parts of the middle blocker wanted to let his partner rest, but the other wasn't ignorant. If Yamaguchi was neglecting his rest, then food was definitely far from his focus as well. He sighed, shaking Yamaguchi's shoulder gently. A smaller wine didn't bury his face into the blonde's torso. Can you stop? Wake up, silly. You need to eat something. No, I want to sleep. Tsukishima chuckled and pulled Yamaguchi up to his feet, resulting in him whining in protest until they got to the table. Even then, he'd occasionally spill some of the food from his spoon because he was so exhausted it affected his coordination. How about a shower now? I'm sure it will relax some of your muscles, so then you'd be ready for bed. Yamaguchi nearly cried at the idea of having to stand up longer than he had to, and the raven noticed. How about a bath, Tadashi? I'll go with so I can help you. That's a good idea. Yeah. You two do that while me and Sho do the dishes and clean up. Aww, why will I have to do the dishes? Hinata grumbled and leaned into the blonde, hanging from his shoulders dramatically. I seem to recall you leaving a mess in the kitchen last time you and Kemma were in here streaming, you troublemaker. Well, I got nothing. Fair enough. Kageyama walked around the table and helped Yamaguchi onto his feet, leading him towards the bathroom, leaving Tsukishima and Hinata to bicker about the dishes. Baby? Yamaguchi's back was leaned against Kageyama's chest. The clothes had been removed and discarded in the clothesbin, and they now sat in the warm bath. The water was everything Yamaguchi dreamed it to be. He could almost fall asleep right there, but the setter kept him present. About your project, I think you should take a step back from it. What? Why? The raven practically cringed, feeling the ladder fidget under his touch from just one comment disrupting the calm aura in the room. Tension quickly replaced its absence. Well, I've just noticed you've been neglecting yourself since this project started. Kate and Sho have noticed it as well. It's not just me. Yamaguchi was the only one in the relationship that didn't go pro with volleyball. It left him in the position that he believed he needed to work harder so that he could prove that he made the right decision, even after rejecting all of those scouts from their third year. His anxiety prevented him from being anything more than playing in high school, and that was fine. He would always cherish those memories, but then inferiority comes into play. You're being ridiculous. I'm fine. Yes, I've been working a few extra hours, so it's only natural I'm tired. The raven's brow furrowed and tenderly moved his thumb over his lover's eyes that were rimmed in dark circles, and with a gentle voice he finally spoke. This isn't just tired. You're exhausted, Tadashi. You're burning yourself out. The fatigued boy sighed and laid his head on the setter's chest, relaxing, listening to the pulse of his heart. Fine, I'll admit it. I'm going crazy at work. It's just, this project, it's something out of my field, so I'm not even sure why I was assigned to it. I have to make up for my lack of knowledge by doing extra extensive research. I understand, but sweetheart, it becomes a problem when you still work on your days off. Well, Sho works on his days off. Kageyama snorted at the latter's weak retort. That's just exercise, and we all encourage it, including you. None of us want to deal with a show with that amount of hyperactive energy. It's a way to burn it all off. Yamaguchi giggled at that, remembering the last time Kei had put him on strict bed rest after a match, thinking it would be best for him to rest, but it did the complete opposite and drove all of them nearly up the wall. I guess I can't argue you on that one. So will you promise me to take it easy? You don't have to give up the project if you really don't want to. I don't want to take that away from you. I just want to make sure you take care of yourself properly. I hate seeing you this debilitated, especially when it could easily be prevented from resting and eating properly. Yamaguchi said once more. It could have been the 100th time that night and he wouldn't have known. This can make or break my career with this company, and maybe even entirely. I understand, but please know that whatever you accomplish with your career will mean nothing if you get hurt from pushing yourself too hard, or even worse. Don't get me wrong, I'm so proud of you. Words could hardly even put it to justice. But I also worry. That also includes whenever you are perfectly fine and healthy. That makes no sense. Well, it kinda comes with the whole being in a relationship thing, and with my luck, I ended up having to worry about 3 beautiful, equally stubborn people. The raven ruffled the latter's hair, resulting in the melody of his laughter. It sent ripples in the bathtub, subsequently making water splash out onto the floor. Alright, I'll think about resting. Think? More like you will, or you'll have to face the wrath of not just me, but Sho and Kei. It's 3 against 1, darling. Choose your battles wisely. Completely bemused, Yamaguchi splashed some of the water at Kageyama. You're playing mean. It never was a game. The setter smirked, proud he finally got through to him. They had all been worried about Yamaguchi for days. Honestly, he was convinced Tsukishima would be the one to talk some sense into him, since he was usually the reasonable one in the relationship. He was elated to know that he was the one that coaxed Yamaguchi to rest. Tadashi. Once him and Kageyama exited the bathroom and wandered into the bedroom, Hinata had been eagerly awaiting them in bed and made grabby hands towards the former captain. Will you actually sit still long enough? It's kind of early for you. I'll stay still, I promise. The hyperactive tone told him otherwise, yet he had no fight in him to argue and plopped into the bed, nuzzling into his chest, taking in his fresh scent. It was enough to make all of his muscles give out and melt into the touch. He could fall asleep right then and there. There was a part of him that still lingered on the project and kept him from resting, when he felt the presence of Tsukishima loom over, rubbing his back. Okay, You're gonna make me fall asleep. Rest. The blonde could have said more words, but it was all drowned out when he felt his consciousness slipping. With a full meal, a warm bath, and now the comfort of his lovers, it was game over. Finally, Yamaguchi could rest. So I unintentionally made this to be a perfect one-shot, but little does everybody know I have so much more plans for this series. So if you do not like Angst, I guess you can go ahead and stop here if you just want this cute little fluffy one-shot. Well, I mean, it had a little bit of hurt comfort with overworking and just all of that beautiful stuff with coaxing him to rest and all of that. So if you don't want the angst, stop here. The angst will begin with the next part. So, yeah. I would also like to apologize with the poor audio quality. I cannot move my voice as high as I typically would, or more emotional scenes, like happy scenes, happy, excited scenes. I'm sick. I'm sick. Again, when will this end? I'm sick. So yes, I'm pretty much fine, maybe. It's just kind of my throat that's bothering me, and I kind of need that to voice, but here I am. Without further ado, thank you to all of my duckers. You guys are super duper duper amazing. Like, I've only had my memberships available for a little over a month now, and it literally just, like, I get the notifications each time, like, someone renews their membership with me, and it's speechless, absolutely speechless. So thank you so much for continuing to want to see more content. With that, I will see you guys later.